Okay, this video was supposed to be light and easy. To celebrate, I thought it would be fun to revisit a Gacha series I made, as the title says, when I was 11. I filmed a reaction to the entire series, and intended to edit it down and post it within a day or two. The recording was an hour and 8 minutes. By the time I managed to cut it down to 28 minutes, the entire duration of the series alone, by the way, I was a week into editing alone, and I hated the product. So instead of continuing to suffer to have something partially good, I'll go over most of the series verbally and comment as I go, occasionally showing the reactions I had while rewatching this. This is your lesson today. Know when a turd is a turd. Polishing can only do so much. Caffeinated okay. Take it away. Okay. When I was in primary school, my friend brought her iPad to school and showed me a picture she'd made with Gacha Life, a collection of edgy wolf hybrids with a skull background she called Alpha Skull. Yes, she was a Twilight fan. We aren't friends anymore. For other reasons, though. I thought Alpha High sounded cooler, so I started my own story. During the school holidays, using my grandparents' iPad, a free editing software, and copyright-free music, I spent my days lying on their cold beige bed, making a 3-video Gacha series, Alpha High. I posted them to YouTube under the name Nick Girl, and got no attention. The lack of views couldn't stop me, but not being able to commit to my ideas in the second season certainly did. I want to revisit this now for some laughs and nostalgia, but also to offer advice I've learned since. I want to make this clear. This is my own work, and I am treating it and my younger self with respect. This is not an excuse to bully a child or anyone else. Keep commentary positive and/or constructive. Also, thank you to the stars for all the support on my introduction. Getting 500 views and 100 subscribers so quickly it's insane. I cannot thank you enough, but I thought a little delve into my earlier work would be an apt celebration. I'm okay, I go by he, him. Let's go. We start with Alpha High, the beginning. What a thumbnail. Pixelated magic, a video shop logo, kids fighting. What more could you need? I think I used like 3 skin tones. And Flash, poor Flash is the 3rd one. And he looks so gray. Impeccable. I found a second thumbnail. This one's a lot more basic. I can't recall why I made it. I think I was just trying to make the thumbnail work so that it would show up on YouTube, I guess. I don't have much to say about this one. With an interesting choice of music and clothes, our Marie protagonist greets the audience and introduces herself as Nikki, the creator of Alpha High. She helpfully informs the viewer that she's made an introduction video for the characters and we're taken straight to it. But before that, I want to stop for a moment to discuss referring to this character. Nikki was a self-insert and a persona for me as a child, but it's clear she doesn't align with me currently. I am transmasc. I no longer see myself as a girl, but I won't be changing her pronouns or name because she isn't my persona now. She is her own character with a name and pronouns, and that doesn't need to be changed in the context of this reaction. Her updated version is called Natalie, and she looks different, both because the design suits her character more and because it makes her more of an original character than a rebranded self-insert. If you want to comment about her, talk about the old version as Nikki with she, her pronouns, and the current version as Natalie with she, they pronouns. First up for the introduction section is Scratch, a sunshine sun element, bright yellow Sailor Moon kawaii girl who loves school. Next is Ash and Alex, the mysterious dark moon element twins with a mysterious dark past. You know they're twins because they talk together at the same time. Though they can probably read each other's minds if the power they display in the rest of the series is anything to go by. Then we have Spencer with his water abilities and bravery. Hank, who was raised by humans and has wind element. Flash, the scrappy fire kid being hunted. And Leroy, the half-cat nature boy who doesn't show an aptitude for sports at any point. Nikki tells us to enjoy, and the series begins. We start at the bus stop. Leroy tries to engage with Ash and Alex and is promptly told to shut up, so he and Flash respond by boys will be boysing. Leroy and Flash are saved from imminent death by the bus, and they arrive at school, with Flash declaring excitement that this is their first day. Ash and Alex do not care. Flash shows confusion towards their attitude, but Nikki defends them and says it isn't their fault, even though it is. So I relate to them. School isn't pleasant. A lot of people just want to get through it. Flash asks her to elaborate, but she dismisses it, and Hank and Scratch arrive. Wait, why does he have a guitar? Him liking music doesn't come in at all. That is like his only personality trait. Was that the only thing I gave him? Yes, most of these characters only have 2 or 3 personality traits. Moving on from poor characterization, they all head inside. The first class we see is archery, and Miss Maid gets right into it. So much so that she doesn't even show them how to use a bow before telling them to go at it. Each of them takes turns shootings, and Miss Maid gives them feedback as they do. Ash's smoke goes down early, and she's told to open her eye more. Yeah, Ash, just open your eye a bit more. Just open your eye a bit more, it's that easy. Alex's smoke goes up, and she's told to straighten her head. Scratch's falls short, and she's told to pull her string back further, and Nikki goes without flow. The teacher being unimpressed with Nikki compared to the others was meant to be foreshadowing that Nikki is powerful, but it's fairly weak and kind of confusing. It's lunchtime. Spencer is standing there because because he doesn't want to fall asleep, and Leroy reveals that Spencer's wolf pack would sleep in for a few days after winter. Unlike bears, which experience a drop metabolism and can sleep for months on end, wolves remain active, alert, and responsive throughout the winter. The group finds it amusing, and Nikki takes it as an opportunity to call him a slacker. Cue the laugh track and fourth wall break. The bell goes and the boys fall off their chair in surprise. Leroy is revealed to be half cat, Spencer pulls his tail out of his ass, cue the aw reaction sound, and Ash and Alex decide to dip, with Nikki following. Cue a backflip into a portal, which confuses Spencer on account of how standoffish Ash and Alex have been acting towards everyone else. Scratch tells Hank that he forgot to change out of his human form, which was definitely intended, and then tells the others that she finds it weird that Nikki used an orb during archery instead of actual magic, in a school apparently based on teaching magic. Magic orbs are meant to be a magic base in this world, it seems. They're a form of channeling magic like we see with the others, but can be used on their own, which is an interesting idea that I'd like to explore again. Ash and Alex can apparently hear all and relate to Nikki that the others are talking about her, which she finds upsetting. And despite Ash trying to comfort her, she has a flashback, an image of someone yelling, "No, please," and someone clawing her eye, provoking her to yell. I think this needs a more in-depth discussion. Okay, that sounds like they finished uploading this series 2 weeks ago. Take it away. I'm summarizing a point I tried to make here. My child self was trying to show PTSD, but didn't handle it that well. The setup for the flashback isn't unrealistic. Nikki gets upset because her friends are questioning her, and she doesn't want to revisit the past that leads to the answers they seek. But it would be more realistic if there were a buildup of emotions before memories, more symptoms of stress, less of a verbal reaction, and if more PTSD symptoms were shown over the series. After this moment, any sign she has of PTSD only comes in the form of a short depressive state when she's questioned again. I'm not implying this reaction can't and doesn't happen, it just doesn't work as well in film. Ash and Alex show concern and Nikki decides to step out for some air. A decent decision on her end. I also appreciate that the other characters never treat her poorly because of her mental health issues, except maybe the teachers. We cut back to the rest of the group and Spencer professes his interest in Nikki.
Bruh, you just met her! You haven't even had a class together! Bro, get out! Although that might be accurate for some teenage boys, but like, confessing it in front of all of your friends?
I guess he likes being insulted. Scratch finds the idea cute, but Flash is glaringly less interested, which Spencer quickly notices, and it makes him decide that Flash is a threat to his humiliation desires. Flash tries to walk away, but it only takes Spencer calling him a coward to change his mind about beating the out of a boy he doesn't know over a girl he also doesn't know. Priorities. I could describe this fight, but it's funnier to watch, so I'll let my reaction take it from here.
Let's go. Spencer jumps up and goes to kick Flash in the face. Flash kicks his foot and he like falls back, but he does a backflip.
Nikki runs in, stops them from doing intimidation backflips, and tells them to knock it off.
I don't you fighting over me. It's not right.
Also setting down some boundaries about them questioning her. They agree, the bell goes, and while Spencer is clearly still mad at Flash, they don't continue and walk off to class. It's the last period. Apparently, the students took a test at the start of the day that sorted Leroy, Hank, Scratch, and Nikki into a class with...
My name is Mr. Will, also known as the Master of Wisdom. What is that fit? My god, you are a teacher, not in the military.
He says they're bright, so they should have the wisdom to match it, which correlates to them getting homework starting Friday. Cue something about tomatoes being a fruit, but not belonging in fruit salad. Leroy falls out of his chair in disbelief, and Hank gets so upset that he throws a chair, which Nikki catches and throws back at him. Mr. Will says they'll be getting their schedules, and
you will get a bag with supples as well.
Which relieves Leroy to the point that he doesn't get up from his seat. They exit the school, taking their personalized bags from someone who looks like they really shouldn't be teaching, and wait out the front as Leroy catches up. They hop in, and we're taken to a different setting. Mr. Wolf, the principal, leads the students to the entrance, except Spencer, who fell asleep so that the 8-character limit would allow for the principal to be in shot. How thoughtful. He then informs them that this is the actual school because, quote-unquote, they didn't want trackers.
You had an entire fake school? How do you even afford that?
Going inside the school, they end the tour at the girls' room.
They are floating on the floor.
The principal informs them that the boys' room is next door, a map has been provided in their bags, and curfew begins at 9 p.m. Nikki tells the boys that they need to leave because they're in a female-only space, and Ash and Alex unconsensually teleport them away, which also fixes the gravity issues. Scratch leaves to get her bags, and Ash, Alex, and Nikki start getting comfortable. Meanwhile, at the boys' room...
Flash, why are you in a pineapple? I mean, this is pretty creative. You got the blue bed, you got the couch bed, you got the side bed, then you got the pineapple bed. What is the pineapple bed doing there?
Hank is having issues choosing what bed he wants to take, but Spencer being teleported into the dorm on top of them convinces him to take the other bed. I'll choose not to comment on the unsafe method of handling children.
Spencer, oh my god, Spencer is knocked the f*** out. Dude, how many days of sleep did you miss?
Hank decides to go exploring and walks outside, coming across a man named Horace who has been looking for him. The anti tracking method of switching entire buildings certainly worked out. I love this outro. No notes.
Bruh, I spoiled the twist in the thumbnail. What is that?
This episode starts off differently with a recap of the last and Nikki welcoming us back to the show. The girls are vibing when Ash says someone is coming and Flash runs in on cue, yelling about a farmer who wants to kill him, pursuing closely behind. Nikki doesn't hesitate, leaps off her bed and jump kicks him directly in the eye, knocking him out.
I love it when I go to kick someone when my positioning is a little bit off, so I just like rotate there.
Ash helpfully sends him into the void and Nikki asks Flash who he was. Flash awkwardly explains that in a period of desperation, he'd eaten the farmer's chickens, apparently enough of a crime that the farmer has wanted him dead since. Nikki doesn't give a shit and tells him to leave, which he does. The principal then walks in, not about the intruder that just tried to kill a student, but because apparently in his lack of sleep, he mixed up the dormitories and they need to move to the next room.
Okay, I really liked how I decorated the boys' room, and then I was like, this is unfair. I want the girls to have this kind of room as well. The girls deserve more, and I respect younger of me for that.
After quickly settling into a room with no beds and a computer setup,
How come they get a computer set up? Ash, what are you even doing on there? Are you doing some security breach? Maybe some Skyrim?
Scratch asks where they're eating and Nikki goes to show her. For some reason, ChildMe decided that they needed to walk to the beat of the song. This footage is not slowed down. They genuinely walk at 1 frame per second, maybe less. After seeing the kitchen, Nikki tells Scratch that they'll be eating shortly outside. A while later, everyone is outside and a sleep-deprived Spencer joins them, telling them that the principal said they have to hunt for and cook their own food, without supervision. These kids are canonically 11 to 12. Nikki jumps up in celebration, scaring the shit out of Spencer, and declares their hunt. The boys find a pig in the forest, so they use their magic to—
They're jumping him! They're jumping him! Save your boy! Calm down, guys. It's a pig. It can't fight back. Leroy, you're right to be upset. What are they doing?
well, it might not be an ethical method, but you can't deny it's effective. The girls, meanwhile, are looking for fish. Nikki says they should get berries as well before spotting a fish, diving into the water and emerging dry with a fish the entire length of her body. Back at the kitchen, Nikki is hunting the food they caught, and the boys return, with Spencer quite proud of the giant pig they caught, and Hank putting it in the microwave. Don't do this. This will not cook your meat. Scratch notices Leroy's sadness towards the brutal murder of the pig, and Hank explains that he's vegetarian, which I believe was inspired by Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go. Nikki says Hank needn't worry, because they brought back berries that he can eat, which is definitely a filling dinner. Hank asks what they're making, fish loaf, and calls it gross, before all of them laugh that it's gonna make Spencer mad, which doesn't make sense because him being able to wield water doesn't necessarily correlate to compassion towards fish. Back outside, Hank is confused that Ash and Alex aren't eating the food that the girls cooked and asks what they're drinking, which is apparently raw blood. They seem to be closer to vampires than moon element wolves. We cut to the school from the outside and see Horace with a now bandaged eye on the roof watching them like the creepy he is.
If tracking is so prevalent and stuff, why don't they have like teachers who patrol the outside of the school? It shouldn't be that easy for some random guy to just get up on the roof and spy on kids. How did no one see him?
He jumps down and has a monologue about Nikki seemingly not having an element and being good kidnapping material, forcing the others to come to her rescue and stating, "And Flash seems to have a big heart, meaning he'll definitely place himself for her." Despite this plan being convoluted and easily broken if any of the students simply went to a teacher, he has confidence in it nonetheless. With the power of grayscale, it's night, an admittedly good technique given the lack of options. Ash and Alex aren't here, but you can assume they're more active at night because of their connection to the moon and to have gone out. Horace has seemingly broken in with no issue and begins tying cloth to Nikki's mouth and eyes. He brushes aside her hair to blindfold her properly, and she wakes up, prompting him to punch her in the face to knock her right back to sleep. He's off-put by the fact that her eye was white, but dismisses it and carries her out. Flash is the only one who wakes up to the sound of movement outside the room and goes to investigate. Flash finds Nikki tied to a chair on the bridge with a gun pointed at her head, and Horace tells him not to move or he'll fire it. Flash demands he leave her out of the situation, but Horace won't budge until he has Flash. It is until Nikki pulls the tangled move to get her makeshift gag off and begs him to take her instead, saying, "I'll do anything." Hey, child, okay. There are some dark implications I think we failed to unpack with that statement.
Well, and he just agrees? I was Flash here, what?
Apparently, the promise of willing child enslavement is a better deal than getting the revenge he kidnapped Nikki to achieve in the first place, and he takes her away, telling Flash not to follow or he'll kill her. Nikki says goodbye, and they leave. Say this is too dark, but I'd be lying if I didn't admit the updated version is even darker, and there's nothing wrong with a story being dark as long as it's not harmful. Kids should be allowed to explore and process dark themes, but it's also important to have someone guiding them through them. I'm sure many of us put our toys through hell and back when we played with them as children, and in immature and naive ways, because that's how kids are. Love dark stories by all means. Keep making them. Just remember to keep yourself educated and be respectful about it. Flash runs back to the dorms and yells out to the others to wake them up. When he tells them Nikki is in trouble, Spencer is immediately furious and asks what happened. Flash explains and Spencer calls him an idiot. I'd side with him, but there's only so much you can do when someone has a gun. Scratch tells Spencer to stop being a prick, and Hank is worried that their magic isn't powerful enough to track down the farmer. Conveniently, Ash and Alex teleport in with an explosion, saying they can help.
If you can hear their conversation, why can't you follow her to begin with? Or sense that she got kidnapped and be like, no. Why did no one tell a teacher after he came in and tried to attack Flash?
Scratch asks how, and they say family sticks together, which I assume is meant to imply their kinship allows them to know where the others are at all times. A serviceable reason. Scratch is surprised that they're related, which prompts their response more or less, which I do like for no particular reason, and they teleport everyone to the next scene. Moving past the animal assets, it takes them less than 5 seconds to find Nikki in an underground prison that the firma just owns, that they probably could have teleported directly to.
Wait, why was she just like unconscious or something? He just like went into the basement, put her in a cell, and she was just like, I'm gonna go to sleep now.
She wakes up after hearing Ash, and the others are shocked that her eye is white, with Leroy initially assuming it was the firma's doing. But Nikki says he did nothing and asks that they escape. Flash uses his fire to melt the chain, keeping her to the wall, and she thanks him, with Flash responding that they had to come to save her. I consider that quite true, considering that this is partially everyone's fault for not telling a teacher. Leroy warns them that the farmer is coming, and Ash and Alex say they can't teleport everyone. It isn't stated, but it's because dawn arrived and they aren't as powerful during the day, which I did try to convey during my reaction.
So because it's not night, Ash and Alex's powers aren't powerful enough to teleport anyone. I'll see myself out.
Flash tells them that he'll deal with it, and Nikki insists that she stay to help despite his objections. She tells the others to run and tells Flash to stay still, touching his shoulder and suddenly gaining fire abilities. This is Nikki's power that we've been leading up to. She can copy abilities. I know this isn't exactly unique, but at the time I hadn't seen anything like it, and I still think it's a cool underutilized power that you can do a lot with, and you'll see that in this series later. Horace comes in saying Nikki's DNA is interesting because apparently he's also a DNA scientist, but stops in his tracks when he sees her in Flash. I'll let Reaction OK take it from here again.
Oh no! Wait, don't do that! What? Oh my god! What? You just set a guy on fire!
So, after burning alive a man that could have shot them had he been quicker, they run out of his basement to the others. Everyone is surprised that Nikki suddenly has powers, and she tells them that it only lasts for a day. Leroy cuts in and says that the farmer is screaming, "I'll get you, vermin," because as a half-cat hybrid, he obviously hears better than the wolf hybrids. Nikki tells Scratch that she needs to make them a portal to get out of there. Scratch has doubts, but Nikki gets everyone to help and they teleport away at end of the episode.
Okay, so it's not just Scratch, it's just everyone teleports away.
The final and thankfully shortest episode of the bunch. This is the season finale of Warrior Wolf? That sounds like a Warrior Cat spinoff, which I hadn't read and didn't know about if you assume that, and since then I've only read the first book. After another recap and welcome back,
Family sticks together. Vin Diesel. Gacha Life 2020.
we arrive back at the school. The group tries to think of how they can stop the farmer with Leroy, noting that it would be illegal to kill him.
The fire didn't kill him? He didn't stay to make sure he was dead? Why did you even set him on fire the first time? I mean, like, that's pretty extreme. You haven't even called the police. We can't just kill him. That's still illegal. But setting him on fire isn't?
Flash pauses the conversation to ask Nikki a question. Not about why she didn't tell them about her power, but about what Horace was talking about earlier when he said her DNA was interesting. Cue the face shadow and zoomies. That wasn't sped up. Scratch, concerned, goes to see what's wrong and tells the others not to follow her because Nikki will want to be alone.
But like, she's not alone, she's with her sisters. She's with her sisters, that's not-
She walks into the dorms and finds Nikki saying that she wants to open up to the others but just can't. Scratch asks what's wrong and Nikki tries to talk but gets overwhelmed and teleports away. Scratch tries to get information from Ash and Alex but they stay silent and the bell goes off. I almost forgot this was set in high school.
Where did the cat go?
In class, Mr. Will is talking about wolf packs and the roles wolves play within them. Scratch asks what the pups do, and he tells her that they're usually put in learning roles and begins asking the others what roles they played in their own tribes. Leroy learned how to protect the forest, Hank was raised by humans and didn't have a role, which is a neat concept and explained why he's basic. Scratch learned how to make traps, which I also like, and Nikki says,
I wasn't trusted with a role. So as we see, everyone has a role in the tribe they're needed for.
I think that's my second favorite moment in this entire series. That's great. Back at the lunch area, Scratch is worried because Nikki hasn't been herself.
You've known her for 2 days.
Hank chimes in with the fact that earlier Nikki talked about her pack not trusting her, and Leroy asks why they wouldn't, which is when Flash speaks up. He tells the group that as a child he went to the library frequently and discovered through a book that humans can become animal hybrids if hybrid DNA gets into their bloodstream. The recognizable trait? An animal nose. It's stupid, but I have to respect it. It makes sense. She's the only one with a nose. What can you say? As the group realizes what Nikki is, she comes in herself and interrupts the conversation, saying how she's a human, how she was abandoned by her parents, and the pack that adopted her. Scratch doesn't understand, and so Nikki decides to show them. She goes to Spencer, copies his water ability, and transports them to one of her early memories, which I suppose makes sense, you're flowing through the mind. Younger versions of Nikki, Ash, and Alex walk into the clearing with an adult called Daniel.
Young Alex, young Ash, young Nikki. Daniel. I can't take like an alpha guy called Daniel seriously.
This section is abysmal to try and read, so again, reaction okay.
Oh god, I'm gonna need to get eye strain to read these. I forgot about this. You lot are pathetic. You don't contribute in any way whatsoever, and all you do is eat our food. I try to help it, you won't let me, and I let Ash and Alex eat my food. Never talk like that to me.
Daniel then proceeds to claw specifically at the eyes of the 3 children, claims that they got what they deserved, and leaves them to die. Nikki asks her sisters if they're okay, but they're unresponsive and she panics, shouting for someone to help.
I will help. Out of nowhere.
Moon Spirit arrives, and Nikki again says she'll do anything to save her sisters. She seems to have an issue with giving herself up to protect her loved ones, to strangers who could very well hurt, torture, or kill her. The Moon Spirit is actually super chill and tells her to just protect them, saying she'll give them the dark side of her so that they'll survive. This is why they look like vampires, by the way. Their element is specifically the dark side of the moon, which is an interesting, if slightly convoluted concept. The spirit tells Nikki she can have whatever power she wants because she tried to save her sisters, and Nikki says she doesn't need anything. So the spirit gives her the ability to copy powers so she can have whatever she wants as long as she has access to it. The spirit blesses them all with her magic, which supposedly heals Nikki and speeds up the become a hybrid by taking hybrid DNA to instant. The hybrid DNA being the claws of Daniel when he struck her, and Ash and Alex wake back up, all of them surprised at the outcome. And that's why we're like this. Conveniently, as the flashback ends, Horace comes back with more bandages and is gone.
How did you walk into the school with a gun? How?
It seems Horace has gone shit crazy. Nikki tells him that he'll have to go through her if he wants them, and as Leroy starts calling the police, she immediately gets shot. Horace goes to deal with the others, but the arrival of the police is swift and brutal. This is based off an ASDF meme. This is based off of my brother.
You have this really tense, emotional moment. Nikki gets shot. And then the police just come and shoot the guy. And then you get like a meme.
Nikki wakes up in a somewhat hospital bed and asks where Leroy is, which is apparently at the station explaining what happened. He did call the police, but the whole situation was centered around Flash, so it really should be him answering all the questions. They fill her in on what happened, and Scratch says she's been unconscious for 2 days, but they're interrupted by the principal, who walks back in, sees she's awake, and very unconcerned tells her she can go back to her dorm. This school has some serious issues with child safety.
No therapy, no nothing.
Nikki is now chilling in the bedroom when Ash teleports in and says they need her help. Nikki copies her abilities, and they teleport to where Alex is to see 2 demons.
What did you do? Fight now, talk later. And then they don't fight, they just send it to the void.
Nikki is reasonably upset that they were summoning actual demons, which they've apparently been doing for a while, saying that it's going to kill them when she can't be there to help them deal with it.
Valid argument.
And now it's Valentine's. Nikki walks out to the lunch area and...
Single best shot of the film. It's Valentine's Day. I put Leroy and Scratch together, and then I put Nikki and Flash together. I knew that I want like more than 2 couples, but I can't have Ash and Alex dating anyone because they wouldn't want to date anyone. So I just put the 2 remaining guys together. I made a gay couple. I don't know if you can hear me clapping, but I'm clapping. Absolute cinema. Good job, younger me.
By the way, if you think I'm removing that from the current story, you have another thing coming. I'm calling their ship Ripple. Nikki walks up to Flash and asks why everyone has flowers and ice cream, and Scratch informs her that it's Valentine's Day. Flash nervously asks if Nikki will be his Valentine, and she kisses him. But we don't get to dwell on that. Nikki walks back into the dorm and sees her sisters standing there ominously.
Whoa, okay. Are you too good?
She asks what's up, and they say that their magic only hurts people, and Nikki realizes that they're going to let their magic consume them.
Whoa, you had one argument. You were like, hey, stop summoning things, not stop using your magic. They literally used their magic to save her, and now it's suddenly a bad thing? You gotta let it consume you?
Magic corruption / consumption is something I came up with as a general rule of magic when I was little. If you go too long without using your magic, depending on what your magic is, it will start using you, corruption, or it will start dying and dragging you down with it, consumption. I don't think I need to tell you what that implies towards Ash and Alex's actions here, but I'll move past it because I don't want to trigger anyone. If you are in a bad mental space, please seek help. Nikki, not wanting them to do this, tells them that she'll take their magic, despite Ash pointing out that the last time she apparently tried to take someone's magic, she nearly died. Nikki insists, so Alice asks if she's sure, and she assures that she is. So, late that night, she prepares to take their magic. Then the others run in, she loses control, and all of them are taken. Nikki is transformed into something else, something far more powerful. She's horrified at first that she just killed all of her friends, but kind of just sidelines it because now she has all of their powers. So she transforms into a cool new outfit and sees a crying Shadow.
Why are you crying? Stay tuned for season 2. Season 2 never came out.
That final scene you just saw was the setup for the next season. If you're curious, it was about Nikki soul-binding to a demon princess who had been sacrificed as an elfin baby, and their adventure to a forest full of other elves who also had elemental powers, though this time without the ability to produce it, but under control, and the environmental power teenagers and single elder they found were fighting a war against an entire subspecies of dark elves who worship the demons. There was also a 3rd season planned involving a war between demons and angels that revealed Nikki's origins and her long-lost sister Serena, who had been turned into a cat hybrid who could heal. Moving past all of that, the criticisms I made here were all for fun, and with the understanding that I was an inexperienced kid just having fun, and I had a lot of fun myself rewatching it. And going into the self-insert aspect, you probably guessed that it was because, as a kid, I wanted to be like that. I wanted to have wolf ears and cool clothes, I wanted to have attention, but I also wanted to suffer and be saved from that suffering. I'll keep this light, but I had a rough childhood that caused some self-destructive tendencies, so the stories I made throughout my whole life as a coping mechanism started to echo that, even when I wasn't even aware of what I was going through. There's something to be said about bad things happening to main characters. It's often seen as a cheap tactic to make you feel sorry for a character, keep the story interesting, and occasionally because the creator just likes it. And those definitely occur, though some use it as a quieter form of destructive indulgence, where they can say they have been through easily defined and clear-cut trauma, and where, in the same story, they can be pulled out of that either through impossible power or by their perfect savior. It doesn't exempt that trope from critique, but it adds a layer of nuance that I think many are unaware of. Even if you have a story like this that you think is 10 times worse, my favorite part about old stories is that you can change them, tone them down, build them out, and make something cool, or in my case, make something okay. The ad here I have this time is a commission I bought from Shister. They're an artist in need, I linked their Ko-fi, go support them. My next video will be a devlog about how I created Elix and what I've upgraded so far. The sketchy style animation is out, the audio was from Fighting in the Car by Joe P, it's here and on TikTok. And lastly, someone asked if I had a full reference for OK, and I don't, so I put that down in my spreadsheet. Good work watching this far, enjoy KK Miku.